Hey guys, bonus movie review here for you while I'm gone at E3 LA. Me and Joe and Little Joe had an opportunity to see a horror film, and this one called It Comes at Night, right?
Yeah.
And I must say up front that I knew nothing about this film.
I never even saw trailers,
Yeah,
anything. So
and that's
went
really
blind.
rare for us because we know almost everything about films before they come out. And so I was really in the mood. I was like, okay, that's so fun that I know jack shit, and please surprise me, wow me. I knew nothing going in, and I know nothing going out. This is a
This one was
slow burn.
kind of like an indie film. It was a thinker and a stinker.
A thinker and a stinker.
I didn't like it, as you can tell.
What's that, Little Joe? Yeah, that's a pretty good one too. All right, Little Joe, but
My joke.
you gotta stop stealing other Joe's jokes, Little Joe. Here's the thing: it's a slow burn film.
That we got burned again, right? We all got burned. God damn it.
We just got burned, basically. It's a horror thriller that really, it's one of those frustrating ones that doesn't really explain anything in the first 30 minutes. You know absolutely jack shit. And I like those sometimes, once eventually they get to the point.
Everything together.
And you piece things together. I like that. However, it never does that. The first 30 minutes is kind of where we learn the premise of the film. And I will tell you it, but we won't have any spoilers until the very, we'll have a spoiler section. But basically, it is a story about two families trying to survive an apocalyptic event. You know, an outbreak of some kind. We can say that much.
Yeah.
That doesn't really spoil much. So, and in that sense, they try to go very realistic. And I can respect that. Some of the things that the film does well is its soundtrack, pretty eerie sounds. They've got some good cinematography, some vivid images out there in the forest, because it seems like they are sort of isolated from cities. He's a sort of a mountain man, Joel Edgerton,
There's some
right?
scenes where it's
That's
like
Paul.
they play eerie music and they kind of hold on a shot in the wilderness.
And you think
Did I miss something?
Right, and I
don't
look
know.
over at
was
Joe,
like,
I
I don't know
said,
if I missed something. I'm scanning. I'm like, did I miss something? I don't know.
my eyes aren't very good, so I'll ask Joe, were we supposed to see anything? And Joe,
I don't know. I didn't see anything. I missed
So,
it.
you know, after a frustrating opening, and it starts to sort of slow burn its premise, and you learn a little bit more. But by the hour mark, I started looking at my watch,
Yeah, I noticed.
really waiting for the film to get going, and it never really gets going. I think what it does is it confuses slow pace with some kind of, you know, seriousness. It reminds me of The Witch, right? You know The Witch, how it's kind of moved slower? The thing is, The Witch had a good payoff at the end. It actually built to something, and it was really cool to see at the end, and then it made you think afterwards. This film doesn't have a payoff at the end. It ends up feeling very pointless. A lot of the ideas that it brings up is not explored whatsoever. They never go into any detail about what this apocalypse is, what
happened?
What happens? How do you get this thing? And they just leave that on the air, and they focus more on the families and the characters and the interactions. How would this really be in real life? And I appreciate that, but at the same time, it didn't work. Because as I was telling Joe, I was like, oh, you know, it focuses more on the characters, Joe. And but then we were like, we both said, well, wait a minute, the characters really didn't have all that much depth to them either, because they barely talk, they barely say much. And so it really unsatisfying payoff. I think audiences are going to hate this ending.
The title is very misleading.
Yeah, I mean,
Nothing fucking came at night.
nothing really comes
I was
at
like,
night.
wait, what?
I mean, technically, maybe I don't know. I don't say anything, but it's one of those indie type feeling films that really tries to focuses more on the psychological and the thriller aspects. Unfortunately, here it builds to absolutely nothing, and by the end, you feel like it was a pointless exercise with a lot of unexplored ideas, and maybe the more interesting movie was happening off to the side. The whole apocalyptic virus or whatever it is, because it's a mixture of sort of, you do get to see some cool like zombie looking thing, you know, eventually to see how people are affected by it, but this idea has been done many times. Better and with more to it, and so that's mainly the big problem. You've got 6 central characters. Paul, obviously played by Joel Edgerton. You have Will, which is played by Christopher Abbott, and he Paul's character has a wife. Chris' character has a wife and a son. Well, they both have sons. One is a younger little boy who actually was a pretty good actor. You could see some emotions in his face, and then you have the 17-year-old on Joel's side of the family, who puts in a pretty good performance. I thought that they were going to eventually make this sort of teenage character the central character to the film, sort of the window for the audience to look into and explore. But and so they kind of go into his sort of desire seeing this chick and this new family come in, but then never really explore that. He just has sort of nightmares that really go nowhere in the end. And through his nightmares are really the only scary parts in the film. There was probably one good scene overall throughout this whole thing, which was one of his nightmares. You remember? So there's really not much to say about the film. Unsatisfying, not enjoyable. This is one of those films that I think critics will really like, you know, and then smelling their own farts like, oh, this is so profound. When there's really not much happening here, you know, and I don't think audiences will enjoy it very much. What do you think, Joe?
No, I pretty much 100% agree with that. I was misled by the fucking title. I was waiting for some action to happen. Fell short.
Yeah. So overall, just save your money. Don't go out and see this. You know, in fact, in my Mummy review, I was thinking that, you know, maybe this is the film you can see if you want to see some horror. You know,
we knew nothing about it.
Because we knew nothing about this. But no, actually, Joe, do you like the Mummy better or this?
I actually did. I was like, oh my god, I would rather see the Mummy if I had a choice.
Yeah.
If I had a choice.
Yeah,
I would choose the Mummy.
Probably seen neither of them, but if you had a choice, go with the Mummy over this, because this is not very satisfying, pointless, leads nowhere. Performances are all right. They are actually believable. The actors that do a sort of good job. It's just they're given zero material. None of the interesting ideas are explored. There's really no scares in the film at all. There's a nice imagery, maybe once or twice, but that's about it. So let's get some final verdicts in here. Little Joe, what are you thinking? Yeah, I agree.
All right.
I mean, that's a little harsh, though. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You should tone it down there, Little Joe. I'm sorry.
He's angry, so what are you gonna do?
I'm sorry for the language, guys. Joe, what are you thinking?
I'm gonna give
Did you hate it as much as Little Joe?
Damn. At least the movie fucking worked, man.
Yeah. It did play on the screen.
I'm gonna have to give this a 3, below the Mummy.
Wow, okay, 3. A little bit higher than Little Joe, but I'm actually gonna have to agree with you. I was thinking about 4, but overall, I wish I hadn't seen it. It felt like a waste of time.
It really was.
There are so many other, like I said, so many other films that explore this idea and do it better. The only good things that I can say is that I knew nothing about it, but that was through my own choice, and it didn't deliver. The soundtrack was good, performance is all right, but it went nowhere. So 3 out of 10 is the final verdict for me. Save your money, guys. It comes at night. Doesn't even mostly come at night, you know. Yeah, it comes at night mostly. No, it doesn't come at all.
Nothing.
It's, you know, it's firing blanks. All right, guys. Well, that's it. So I'm at E3. Please stay tuned for all my live coverage from there. And then when I get back, I'll share a bunch of game previews and interviews with you, and some reviews towards the end of the month. All right, guys? Well, thank you so much, and we will see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys. If you wanted to stick around, here is the spoiler section, just, you know, so that since you're not going to waste your money on this film, because you believe me and other Joe when we say it's a waste of your time, it's a 3 out of 10, let's spoil it. It's, you know, we can't even spoil it for you because we don't know what it is. The family never understands what it is, but essentially what it is these two families try to live together. At first, they're distrustful of each other.
That's all it is. People are the monsters in this movie.
Yeah, the people are the monsters. There are no, like, zombies that come after people. It's just, you know, what would people really act like in an apocalypse? If you're not family, you're just...
Fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them. That's the moral of the story.
Exactly.
Don't let anybody into your fucking house, even if they're nice as hell and you do get along. The second shit hits the fan, fuck them. You know, so they fucking murdered them. Then they were infected themselves. They realized, shit, we didn't need to murder them. We're fucking murderers. And then they die the very next day.
That's the movie.
That's the movie. So honestly, we didn't need that. You know, I'm all for bad endings like The Mist, where you know the guy shoots himself. That's a good ending. Yeah. Everybody hates that ending, but that was the first time in movies I saw an ending like that, and at first I was pissed. But then over many days I was like, you know what? That's a kind of a good ending, a badass ending.
He can't do shit.
Right, and they do the same kind of thing here. Only here, it built to nothing. It explained nothing. It wasn't very interesting. And it was just unsatisfactory.
I wanted to know more about the outbreak, what happened, and what caused everything, basically. But nothing.
Not very good. So yeah. Stop taking you to these things. I'm sorry.
I've been trying to tell him that long ass time ago. I'm still going.
Beard and Dell were sick, so that's why we had to drag you along. All right, little Joe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye.